What happens when a billionaire heir rejects a throne, chooses a village river girl over a princess, and unknowingly ignites a royal war? Will Chukwuma stand his ground when tradition rises against love? Will Amanda survive the storm brewing in the king's palace? Or will power, pride, and bloodline tear them apart before love can even begin? A mother's warning, a king's anger, a river that witnessed a forbidden bond. This is not just a love story, it's a battle between destiny and desire. Like this story if you believe true love has no class or crown. Subscribe so you don't miss the next story, because the war has just begun. Chukwuma Kingsley Okafor had always lived between worlds. The morning sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling glass walls of the Okafor family mansion in Beverly Hills, casting golden reflections across Italian marble floors. The living room looked like something out of an architectural magazine. Neutral earth tones, leather sectional sofas, abstract African art mounted with museum lighting, and a floating staircase carved from oak and glass. Yet for all its luxury, the house felt quiet. Chukwuma stood by the window, phone in hand, scrolling past emails from CEOs, investment analysts, and board members who already treated him like a king in waiting. At 32, he was everything the world admired: tall, broad-shouldered, calm-eyed, with the kind of presence money couldn't buy. But inside, he felt oddly unfinished. "Chooks," his mother's voice echoed through the house, "come down, your father wants to talk." That sentence alone carried weight. The summoning. The dining room was prepared with the precision of royalty. A long walnut table, custom leather chairs, a minimalist chandelier floating like a crown above them. His father, Chief Kingsley Okafor, sat at the head of the table, dressed simply but powerfully, linen shirt, gold wristwatch, authority in his silence. His mother, Lolo Ifunanya Okafor, sat beside him, graceful and composed, her Ankara-inspired silk gown blending tradition with modern elegance. "Sit," his father said. Chukwuma sat. There was a pause, the kind that announces life-changing news. "You are coming to Nigeria," his father finally said. Chukwuma blinked. "For a visit?" "No," his mother replied gently. "For a return." "A son of two worlds. You were born here," his father continued, "but your blood is Igbo. You cannot inherit what you do not understand." Chukwuma exhaled slowly. Nigeria had always been a story to him, told through accents, proverbs, occasional summer visits that never lasted long enough to feel real. "And there is something else," his mother added. He already knew. "You will marry." Silence fell like thunder. "Marry who?" he asked carefully. His father's lips curved slightly. "A woman who understands where you come from." Chukwuma leaned back, rubbing his jaw. "I believe in love," he said, "not arrangements." His mother smiled softly. "Love can grow. Culture must already exist." First touch of home. 2 weeks later, the Okafor private jet descended into Lagos. The moment Chukwuma stepped onto Nigerian soil, something shifted. The air was warmer, louder, alive. On the drive to their Lagos residence in Victoria Island, he watched street vendors, traffic, laughter, chaos, beauty, life unfolding unfiltered. Their Lagos mansion stunned him. Open-plan luxury, high ceilings, glass walls framed with carved wood, plush sofas in warm beige tones, gold accents, subtle Igbo motifs embedded in the interior design. "This is beautiful," he admitted. His father smiled knowingly. "This is home. The three options." That night, seated in a sleek living room with soft lighting and a massive abstract painting behind them, his parents laid it out. 3 ladies, from powerful families, from respected bloodlines, including the king's daughter. "You will meet them," his mother said calmly. Chukwuma nodded slowly. Inside, uncertainty stirred, but so did curiosity. He was ready to meet Nigeria. What he didn't know was that Nigeria was also ready to change him. And somewhere far from glass mansions and royal plans, a village girl was dancing toward his destiny. Lagos did not sleep. It shimmered. From the balcony of the Okafor mansion in Victoria Island, Chukwuma watched the city pulse beneath him. headlights threading through traffic, skyscrapers glowing like silent witnesses, the Atlantic whispering somewhere beyond the lights. He adjusted the cuffs of his tailored navy suit and sighed. Tonight he would begin choosing a wife, not with his heart, but with expectations. Date 1. Evelyn. The restaurant in Ikoyi was the kind where silence cost money. Soft jazz floated through the air, crystal glasses caught candlelight. Every chair seemed reserved for power. Evelyn arrived exactly on time. She wore a fitted cream dress, gold heels, and confidence sharpened to perfection. "You look even better in person," she said, extending her hand. "So do you," Chukuma replied politely. They sat. Almost immediately, the questions came. "So," Evelyn smiled, "will you be relocating the headquarters back to Nigeria when you take over, or expanding in Dubai first?" Chukuma paused, lifting his wine slowly. "I haven't decided yet." She leaned forward, eyes glittering. "Strategically, Nigeria is ripe for acquisition. Oil, tech, real estate. Your empire could double in 5 years." Empire. She said it like a love language. As she spoke, Chukuma studied her. The perfect posture, the measured laugh, the way she glanced around to see who noticed them. Not once did she ask if he was happy. When the waiter asked for dessert, Evelyn waved him off. "No sugar. I like control." Chukuma smiled. Inside, something quietly closed. Date 2. Annabelle. 2 nights later, he chose the opposite approach. No chandeliers, no boardroom energy. He took Annabelle to a private beach in Lekki. The sand was cool underfoot, the sea reflecting the moon. A small table sat by the water, with lanterns flickering gently. Annabelle laughed freely, shoes in hand, dress fluttering in the breeze. "This is perfect," she said. "So romantic." They talked about music, childhood memories, travel. For a moment, Chukuma felt hopeful. Then she said it. "I've always dreamed of America," she admitted, staring at the waves. "New York, LA, real life." He turned to her. "And Nigeria?" She shrugged lightly. "It's nice, but temporary." Chukuma's jaw tightened. "I want to stay here," he said. "Build something real, rooted." Annabelle looked at him carefully, then smiled. "Well, you're American anyway." The words landed softly, but cut deep. Later that night, back in the Lagos mansion, Chukuma sat with his parents in the living room. The warm lights glowed against modern furniture and traditional art. "Well?" his father asked. Chukuma chose his words carefully. "They are impressive," he said, "but they love what I represent, not who I am." His mother studied him. "What do you want?" He swallowed. "A woman with raw love, someone who wants to build a home, not chase an empire." Silence followed. Then his father nodded once. "Then we go to the village." And just like that, the path changed. Far away, drums were already being prepared, and a dancer was stepping unknowingly into his future. The journey to the village began at dawn. Chukuma sat in the back seat of the black SUV as Lagos slowly faded behind them. Glass towers giving way to open roads, thick greenery, and small towns buzzing with morning life. His mother hummed softly, adjusting the wrapper tied elegantly around her waist, while his father spoke occasionally with the driver in fluent Igbo. Chukuma listened. The language sounded musical, familiar yet distant, like a song he once knew but forgot the words to. "This is Onitsha," his mother said as the road narrowed. "Your father's land." Something stirred in his chest. The Festival of Return. They arrived on the day of the great cultural dance festival. The village square was alive. Drums thundered in deep, commanding rhythms. Flutes cried joyfully. The air was rich with dust, sweat, roasted meat, and excitement. Women danced in colorful wrappers, coral beads adorning their necks and wrists. Men wore flowing Igbo attire, red caps tilted proudly, walking with the authority of ancestry. Chukuma stepped out of the car and froze. This wasn't something you watched. It was something you felt. For the first time in his life, he didn't feel like a guest. Her. Then he saw her. Among the dancers, one woman moved differently. She wasn't just dancing to the drum, she was speaking with it. Her feet struck the earth with confidence. Her waist rolled with grace. Her smile carried joy untouched by performance. The crowd roared as she spun, anklets ringing like applause. Chukwuma's heart skipped. "Mom," he whispered, pointing carefully. "Who is that?" His mother followed his gaze and smiled knowingly. "Amanda, best dancer in the village. She won last year's competition. Even cultural magazines wrote about her." Then she added quickly, "But don't get ideas. She's not why you're here." Chukwuma said nothing. His eyes never left her. A son meets his people. As the festival continued, elders greeted Chukwuma warmly, touching his shoulders, calling him son of the soil. "You have your father's eyes," one man said. "You walk like a man who belongs here," another added. Chukwuma smiled, humbled, but all the while, his heart danced elsewhere, with the girl whose feet spoke louder than words. The palace awaits. As the sun dipped lower, a royal messenger approached. "The king is ready to receive you." They were led toward the palace. Chukwuma glanced back once more at the dancers. Amanda had finished her performance. She laughed with friends, wiping sweat from her brow, unaware that somewhere behind palace walls, a princess waited, and fate was quietly choosing sides. The king's palace stood at the edge of the village like a memory carved in stone. Tall mud brick walls were painted in rich earth tones, decorated with white chalk symbols that told stories of ancestry and power. At the entrance, guards stood still, dressed in traditional attire, staffs resting firmly in their hands. As Chukwuma and his parents stepped inside, the air changed. This was not Lagos luxury. This was authority. The throne room was wide and solemn. At the center sat His Royal Majesty, the King of Onitsha, draped in royal Igbo silk, coral beads heavy around his neck. A red cap crowned his head, and beside his throne rested a carved lion sculpture, a silent warning of strength and dominance. Chukwuma bowed respectfully, just as his parents had taught him. The king's eyes assessed him slowly. "So," the king said at last, "this is the son who crossed the ocean." Chukwuma smiled politely. "Yes, your majesty." The king raised his staff lightly. "Call my daughter." The hall fell quiet. Footsteps echoed. Princess Neoma entered, tall, regal, dressed in flowing silk with coral beads framing her neck. Her beauty was unquestionable, but so was her pride. She stopped a few steps away from them. She did not bow, she did not greet. Instead she stood, waiting. Chukwuma felt it instantly, the chill. When introductions were made, Neoma glanced at them with barely hidden disdain, her eyes lingering on Chukwuma's mother, clearly unimpressed. Inside, Chukwuma's heart sank. Royal blood without humility is empty, he thought. The king noticed, so did Chukwuma's mother, but no one spoke. Respect demanded silence. After polite exchanges, the meeting ended. As they walked away, Chukwuma leaned slightly toward his mother and whispered, "She has already failed." His mother sighed quietly. First impressions can lie. But Chukwuma knew, love didn't start with contempt. The next morning, they returned. This time, Princess Neoma greeted them warmly, too warmly. She bowed, she smiled, she praised. Chukwuma watched closely. Later, he learned the truth. Her friend had whispered it to her that night. Billionaire heir, American-born, empire beyond imagination. Suddenly, the disdain vanished. Chukwuma felt nothing, except disappointment. His mother suggested a meeting. "The village garden," she said. "Let them talk." Neoma agreed eagerly, but Chukwuma's heart was no longer in the palace. Somewhere beyond royal walls, a river flowed quietly, and a dancer's laughter lingered in his mind. The sun was beginning to dip behind the lush hills surrounding Onitsha. The village was calm now, the day's festival over, drums resting, laughter fading into the evening hum of insects and the river. Chukwuma couldn't sit still. Despite the palace's elegance and the princess waiting for him in the garden, his thoughts kept drifting back to Amanda. The girl who had danced like the earth itself spoke through her. A walk to the river. He slipped out of the house quietly, careful not to be seen by the villagers. The path to the small river was familiar to the children who played there, and the air smelled of wet grass and earth, a scent that felt like home for the first time in his life. By the riverbank, a figure moved gracefully, bending to scoop water into clay pots. "Amanda," he said softly. She looked up, startled. For a moment, her eyes narrowed. "You! City people are not supposed to be here," she teased, a hint of a smile tugging at her lips. "I'm not just a city person," Chukuma said, amused. "I'm a city person who likes rivers." She laughed, a sound as clear as the water flowing around them, flirting with fate. Chukuma stepped closer. "May I have some water to drink?" he asked, holding out his hands politely. She tilted her head, smirking. "No, this water is not for city people," she teased. "You will get sick." "Then I will risk it," he said, grinning. Amanda shook her head, but handed him a small cup anyway. He drank slowly, savoring the freshness, the simplicity, and the smile she gave him. They sat by the river, legs dangling over the edge, talking about small things first, about the village, about childhood memories, about favorite foods, about how funny the festival had been. Her humor was effortless, her laughter infectious. He noticed the way she wrinkled her nose when teasing him, the way she didn't care about his money, his name, or his empire. For the first time, he felt seen. The moment of truth. Hours passed quickly. Darkness settled over the village, and the river reflected the glow of the moon like a silver mirror. Chukuma finally stood. "I should go," he said reluctantly. Amanda tilted her head. "You will come back tomorrow?" she asked quietly. "I might," he said, "but you should know, I'm supposed to meet someone else." Her brow arched. "Someone else?" He nodded, hesitating. "A princess, the king's daughter." Amanda laughed softly, but there was no bitterness, just honesty. "Then I hope she makes you as happy as this river has tonight." Chukuma smiled, feeling the pull in his chest. Reporting back, and rebellion. Later that night, he returned home. His mother sat in the warm glow of the mansion's living room, sipping tea, the modern Nigerian luxury decor blending with delicate ego carvings. "Mom," he began, "I met someone, by the river." She raised an eyebrow. "And you want her?" "I think so," he said, trying to sound casual. "Her name is Amanda. She's real, funny, smart, and she's nothing like anyone I've ever met." His mother's eyes widened slightly. "Chucks, you know the rules. You are to meet the princess tomorrow. That is not negotiable." "I know," he said softly, "but I don't care. Not really." His mother sighed. "You are a Kingsley Okafor. Even your heart must bow to tradition. For now." Chukuma smirked. "We'll see about that." The game begins. The next morning, Princess Neoma waited in the village garden, dressed impeccably, coral beads glinting in the sun. But Chukuma did not come. Instead, he returned to the river. Amanda was there, scooping water like nothing had changed. "Back again?" she asked, smiling. "Yes," he said simply, sitting beside her. Somewhere in the palace, a princess fumed, a king's pride simmered, and a mother shook her head. And in the quiet, flowing river, love began to choose its own path. The village garden was dressed for royalty. Freshly swept paths curved between hibiscus flowers, palm fronds arched overhead, and woven stools were arranged beneath a mango tree. Princess Neoma stood at the center, draped in coral beads and silk, her posture perfect, her chin lifted high. She checked the sun, then checked it again. Minutes turned into an hour. Chukuma did not come. A princess scorned. At first, Neoma assumed he was late. Then irritation crept in. By the second hour, humiliation burned hot in her chest. "Does he think I am ordinary?" she hissed to her maid. She turned sharply and marched back to the palace, silk skirts brushing the ground with fury. Inside the throne room, the king sat in quiet authority. "My father," she cried, dropping to her knees dramatically. That man has mocked our throne. He promised to meet me and did not show up." The king's eyes narrowed. "Is this true?" he asked calmly. "Yes," she snapped. "He has deceived me." The room went still. The king's wrath. The king rose slowly from his throne. A lion sculpture beside him seemed to grow teeth. "No man mocks this palace," he said. "Not even the son of Okafor." Messengers were dispatched. Whispers spread through the village like wildfire. Meanwhile, far from the palace, Shukuma sat by the river with Amanda, their feet dangling in the water. "You skipped a princess for me?" Amanda asked, half laughing, half shocked. Shukuma smiled. "I skipped a crown for peace." She shook her head. "You are trouble. Only the good kind," he replied. They laughed until the laughter faded. From across the water, villagers stared. Murmurs grew louder. "This is not good," Amanda whispered. "If the king hears." Shukuma reached for her hand. "Let him hear." Back at home, Shukuma's mother paced the living room, worry etched into her face. The house was beautiful, polished floors, modern furniture, soft lighting, but tension thickened the air. When Shukuma returned, she confronted him. "You embarrassed a princess," she whispered sharply. "I followed my heart," he replied calmly. "Your heart can start a war," she warned. He met her gaze. "Then let it be a war for truth." She looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time, fear replaced certainty. That night, a palace messenger arrived. The message was short. "The king demands an explanation." Amanda stood at the edge of the village, watching Shukuma leave. "Will you come back?" she asked quietly. Shukuma nodded. "I always do." Behind him, the river flowed on, unaware that love had just challenged a crown. A king has been dishonored. A princess has been rejected. And a village girl now stands where crowns expect obedience. What happens when tradition demands a royal bride, but the heir's heart kneels at a river instead? Will Shukuma bow to the throne or fight for the woman who owns his soul? Will Amanda survive the storm rising from the palace walls? And when the drums change their rhythm, will they beat for love or for war? Pride is wounded. Love is exposed. Destiny is under attack. Like if you believe love should choose freely, not by bloodline. Subscribe so you don't miss the next part of the story, because the king's next move will change everything.